Yes guys, welcome from me, Championship Manager 0102, still smashing it. So, a recap on the epic 3-man network game with myself, Ian and Pep. What can I say? The end of season 119. Well, we've turned over the June update, so I'm not going to give anything away just yet. I'm going to keep you in suspense on this. So, Ian has been the king of the Premier Leagues for a while. He's had 5 on the bounce. Before I tell you what happened last season, 5 on the bounce equalled the record set by myself of Tottenham, which was 5 on the bounce. Meanwhile, Pep, in the last, what do you say it was, 10, 11, 12 years, he's just been awful. Pep really has been awful. So where do we start? Let's start with the Premier League then. The Premier League went to me. Right, so I claimed the Premier League. Now, I've got to be honest with you, right? Ian got runners-up. Ian had his worst season in a long, long time. He drew a ridiculous amount of games. And he even said he's never drawn as many games, and it really proved costly. Now, in all honesty, right, last season, Pepe led the league virtually most of the season. He was unbeaten for a long period of time until I beat him. And then it just fell apart. And if it couldn't fall apart in any worse circumstances, the season was extended by a week. Pep had games in hand, left, right and centre. And he had to have an extra league game or a game in hand the following Saturday. This league game, right, in fact, if I go to Pep, let me show you how important this league game was. In fact, I can show you. So, there you see, it got rescheduled. Oh, fuck, I've given away. Ah, shit. Can you believe what I've just gone and done there? Ah, so Pep won the FA Cup. Pep won the Champions League. And I may as well tell you, Pep won the League Cup as well. Oh, what a spastic. Right, so, okay. See, I could quite easily just stop the video and start this again. But, do you know what? I'm an adult. I'm man enough to admit I fucked up. Fuck you. So Pepe, well, where do we start? So Pep had to have a rescheduled game against Wycombe. Wycombe needed to win it to survive. Pep had to win it to finish second. That was the short and long of it. That was the short and long of it. And it finished 1-1. Wycombe were relegated. Pepe finished third yet again. So Pepe won the Champions League. He beat Ian very, very brutally, and credit where it's due. Pep won the FA Cup against AI in the final after Ian suffered a shock exit to York City, and Pep won. He knocked me out. I think it was semi-final or quarter-final, maybe, or what? I don't know who knocked me out then. He beat Ian in the League Cup final. So who knocked me out the FA Cup then? Oh no, Tottenham knocked me out. Tottenham knocked me out on penalties. My old team, Tottenham, and then Tottenham lost in the semis. So going back to what I said at the start of the video, Pep has been absolutely atrocious for years and years and years. Of course, what you've got to remember is he won the Champions League, so Pep will not have to qualify for the Champions League because he won it. Now, one of the flaws of the game is what may well happen. I think this has happened now on a few occasions. When the winners of the Champions League finish third, they don't play in the qualifiers, which is fine. But for some reason, you win your first phase group, I win my first phase group, and we end up in the same group for the second phase. Now, technically speaking, that shouldn't happen. But I think there's obviously a lot of flaws in this game, you know, 20-year-old game. But I notice it only happens when this happens. So it's quite rare to not finish in the top 2 and to win the Champions League. But if I just show you then, so competitions, domestic leagues. So there you see, Pep finished on 87, and you can see, look at that, he finished third, left, right and centre. So if I show you Ian then, and you can see Ian 80, so Ian finished second on goal difference. That was a short and long. Now in terms of my season, I had a quite a tough run towards the back end. That's currently, yeah, so 93, I went and finished 6 points in the end clear. But I had a really shit run of late. I mean, in all honesty, I was out of everything. You can see I lost my last 2 league games. And you can see the Champions League there. Pep beat me in the semi-finals. having beat, oh, I was well fucking pissed off. How pissed off was I at losing the first leg like that? I was so fucking angry. And then the second leg, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I was 2-0 up. 6 minutes ago, I was going to go through on away goals. But, you know, I have to give Pep credit where it's due. You know, there's no doubt about that. Now, let me show you something, right? I won't go on too much about, I mean, the internationals, Pep's Italy, sorry, Ian's Italy, Pep is Holland, they'll both make the World Cup 2034. So I managed to land a player, and I worked out who this player was. I didn't think it was going to go through. I was quite adamant that this was going to get cancelled by the board. Mikado, and that is the Ronaldo regen. I paid 8 million and another 10 million and 10 million after multiple appearances. Now, I decided that I'm very, very strong in the FC position. So I was happy to, you may question, why would I sell Ronaldo to a rival? Now, it's all about a deal. It's all about getting make-weight deals. Ian was after Mikado, and I was quite certain that this deal weren't going to go through. And because it went through when the window opened, Ian and Pep were able to spot who I found, which was a bit shit, really. I say spot who I found. Pepe spotted who I found and added him to his shortlist. Even though the deal was going to go through, deal was confirmed, there was every chance it was going to get cancelled, and therefore Pep could then come against me. Ian found Mikado and was up against me. Now, fortunately, he agreed terms with me. However, I've since sold Mikado to Pep. Now, I'll explain my reasoning for using him as bait. One, he's 27, so it's not as if he's like 20 years old, you know, like when I got Messi. Although you could still probably get a good 3-4 years. Two, his creativity isn't as high as what I would like my forwards to have. Three, the deal I got from Pep, I felt was a very, very good deal. Now, let me explain this deal that I got from Pep. But to explain this deal I got from Pep, I need to show you something from Ian. So Ian had a player that he was selling, and it's this guy. And I couldn't understand why Ian was selling such a player. And when you look at how well he did last season, it made no sense. Then I realised his contract was up and he was very unhappy, he wasn't signing a new deal. Ian opted to sell him for £48 million with a 25% sell-on clause to Tottenham. You could argue, why would he sell him? Now, I understand Ian not selling him to me and Pep, but I totally get that. But Pepe offered him a deal, and the deal Pepe offered him are these two players. Now, these two players I felt was a very, very good deal, and I thought Ian would accept it. I understand that Ian wanted 2 other players, and Pepe said no. But Pepe offered these 2 players. It was a forward and a defender, and Ian said no. I offered Ian for that player. I offered him, and then I offered him Ferro, wherever Ferro is. I offered him Ferro because I know he wanted Ferro earlier. Then I offered both of those players in exchange for that deal. Ian said no. So I understand Ian not wanting to sell to us. I totally get that. However, Ian was never going to get a player, like a good part exchange from anybody else other than me and Pep. So personally, if I was Ian, I'd have taken the first deal Pep offered him. I think I understand why he said no, but you know what? I'm sure he has his reasons. But the problem he's got now, I didn't really understand this, to be honest with you. But the first thing is, so that player, wherever he's gone to, that defensive midfielder, Pepe bid for him. I didn't really understand why Pep bid for him. Then Ian bid for him. They were both bidding, and I know for a fact that he's not going to be interested in moving. Tottenham, I mean, they bid, so I figured I'd bid. I bid 60 million, and they accepted it. In fact, you can see what I bid. Yes, and they they accepted it, but he rejected the move, and that's going to keep happening because he's just moved. So, but the problem I think Ian's going to have now is if he does get unhappy. I mean, even I'm happy to wait a year, 2 years. We could potentially get him, and then we can get him for straight cash. So, I don't know. So, let me now show you the 2 players that I got in exchange for me getting rid of the Ronaldo regen. My old player, and now I know that Ian wanted this guy. He caused me problems, but you know what? I'm a big fan of second chances. So, he's joined me, and I'm quite surprised Pep opted to let him go, given. So, whilst I've sold Makeda, now the other player, you may argue, why would I take this player? Now I know Ian probably didn't want this player because of his age. Pepe knew I wanted this player. You could argue he's 31. Defence has been my weakest position, in all honesty. I did have, this is Varane regen by the way, I did have him at the very start of my Chelsea career, in the early parts, and I ended up part Xing him to Pep to strengthen my then building Chelsea squad, and I've wanted him back ever since. But and I've been, you know, trying to sway Pep, and he's just not playing ball. But Pep offered both these two guys to Ian for that DMC. Ian said no. I then put Ronaldo on the market, and I knew if I put Makeda, if I put him on the market, I knew it would prompt Pep and Ian. Ian offered me two players that I had no interest in. And Pep offered me this guy, who is a Cavani by the way, and another player. But I came back to Pep and I says, I'll have that guy and the Varane regen. And Pep came back and we had a deal. Another deal I did with Pep, again a bit of a question mark really. You may argue. I bought this player. Pep was transfer listed this player. Now I thought, fucking hell, Pep. Why you? I mean, he might have his reasons. I don't know. He didn't have a great season last campaign, but he didn't really have excessive amount of games. But he looks the bollocks. And in place for him, I've got to be honest with you, right? I sold this guy in the hope that I'd get the Ronaldo regen, and it's another forward, and that is Neymar. So you could say, why would I sell Neymar? But I opted to get rid of Neymar in exchange. I felt I got a good deal there. But what you've got to remember, I'm thinking from my own point of view, I have got some real strong forwards. So I've got some real strong forwards that I'm very, very happy with. And I was happy to take the risk of selling certain forwards. So that is the deal. So a couple of, just one thing to mention on Man United, they did make one big move in the market. Well, I say one move. They've brought Ian's brought in some players. They're not worldy. There was a couple of players that were really eye-catching, but I think he knows he had a bad season and he needed to do something. He certainly spent a bit. That was one of my old players. Brett Kidd is a good player. He's a regen. So a couple of I would personally question, but there was one thing that I did pick up on from Ian, and he has finally sold his legend. Look at that. Alex Gill has finally left the building. And even last season, look at his season. 23 stars, 896. Sensational. Absolutely sensational. Okay, so that is that, guys. If you have anything you want to add to this video, anything you want to ask, anything you want doing within CM, don't hesitate to just give me a shout. And I will, if you want anything doing video wise, let me know and I'll try and do it for you. So until next time, guys, it's take it easy from me.